friends, I'm a huge fan of The Way We Wore, the iconic vintage shop up in LA owned by the amazing Doris Raymond. I'm also a big fan of her YouTube channel, and I never miss an episode because I learn so much from her videos. In this video, I will tell you about my recent opportunity to go visit the shop, meet Doris for the first time, and score a few special treasures. Welcome to the Dress Up Mom. If you're already a subscriber, thank you, and I love you. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and tap the bell for notifications. Some of my favorite vintage treasures are from The Way We Wore. I bought this Dorothy Biss crocheted coat from the 1970s that I call my amazing Technicolor dream coat off their Instagram feed. I've had it for years and it truly is amazing. In February 2020, right before COVID, I made a trip to the shop and picked up this lace dress from the 1920s and this multicolored 1970s vest, both of which I absolutely love to wear. I did a video on my shopping experience and finding these amazing pieces, which I will link right here. The last time when I went, Doris wasn't there, so I didn't have an opportunity to meet her. As I mentioned, I really enjoy watching the videos Doris and her crew put up on their YouTube channel. She teaches us so much about clothing, jewelry, accessories, designers, and the whole vintage business in those episodes. She is so knowledgeable, open, and warm, and we all feel like we know her and care about her. She has lots of fans like me. Well, things haven't been easy for Doris and The Way We Wore over the last 2 years. She has been in this business for something like 40 years, and these have really been probably the toughest years for her. COVID forced her to shut the shop down for quite a while, and then there were some Black Lives Matter protests, and her shop was looted. I remember seeing the footage of all that beautiful vintage clothing trampled on the ground. It honestly made me want to cry. Doris told me how her whole front window was just shattered, and that's how people got in and up into her areas, and just devastating. Then to top it off, out of nowhere, Doris finds out that she has a brain tumor and has to go and have emergency surgery that very day. That all would be a lot for anyone to handle, and she did share all of this on her YouTube channel. But in Doris fashion, she wasn't complaining about any of it, and she kept trying to look for the bright side of things. She continued to put out content, educating and entertaining us, and really helping us all get through this kind of yucky time. I had not been up to LA for 2 years, and for my husband's birthday, we decided to take a little mini trip up there from San Diego, celebrate his birthday with our son who lives there and our daughter. I did know, because he lives very close to The Way We Wore, that I wanted to make another trip to the shop. This time I really wanted to meet Doris too. So I messaged her a couple days before I was getting up there to see if I could do that and if she was going to be working that day. And she told me that she was leaving for a much needed vacation the following day and wasn't really planning on being in the shop. But she told me that she would come in a little bit early, open up so that she could meet me. I mean, like, how nice is that? I don't idolize many people, but Doris was somebody I wanted to meet because I admire her very much. Saturday morning came, and my husband, daughter, and I headed out to the shop, and I knew I didn't have a lot of time. I had about an hour before we were going to meet our son. So while the others went to a coffee shop to wait for me, I went in, knocked on the door, and there was Doris. I was struck by how beautiful she is. She gave me a big hug, and I felt like I had known her for a really long time. She looked fabulous and totally natural. No makeup, that beautiful silver hair, and her voice. So soothing, I really could listen to her talk all day. I couldn't help but think about everything that had happened since the last time I had been in that store, and how I never would have believed what would have been in store for all of us. It did feel nice to be back in there and surrounded by all the beautiful vintage pieces, every one of which has something very special about it. Doris and I spent about 30 minutes chatting and getting to know one another. We talked about the toll the last couple of years had taken. She didn't think I was 60, she thought I was younger, which made me feel great. And she commented that she liked the vintage top that I was wearing, which was, you know, the highest compliment. Both she and I have an affinity for wearing ethnic pieces because we both think they're just so beautiful and special. So we had this whole conversation about cultural appropriation, and Doris did what she does on her YouTube channel, read me some definitions and educated me on what it is and isn't. I'm now much more knowledgeable on the topic and know how to honor these beautiful pieces that I wear and treasure. I then had about 30 minutes to shop. Now the shop was closed. It wasn't going to be opening for another 30 minutes, so I had it all to myself. Now I stayed on the first floor and a couple pieces immediately caught my eye. I knew I wanted to get some classic pieces that I would wear and keep forever, and things I already didn't have. There were so many great caftans, denim, accessories that I would have loved to buy, but I already have a bunch of those. I gravitated to this leather hippie hat. I have a small head and it can be difficult for me to find hats that fit properly. This one was perfect and I didn't have anything else like it. It is in pristine condition and I could tell it was extremely well made. The brand is Henry Cure, and it is made in Italy from this sumptuous leather. Look at the detailing with these colored beads. So unique. Doris told me she got this from a collection in Costa Mesa and it had never been worn. I love this hat and have so many different things I can wear it with. I've been wanting some longer, flowy skirts, but I'm super picky about what I'm looking for. Nothing too flowery or in sort of puffy fabrics. I'm tall, so it needs to be long enough and have something unique about it. As soon as I got to the skirt section, I was immediately drawn to this orange and black number by Patrick Kelly. The color blocking was super cool and bold, which I like, and the fabric felt great. Heavy enough, but still soft. The drawstring belt and length were also just right. I had remembered watching the YouTube episode Doris did where she mentioned Patrick Kelly in it, and I went back and rewatched that episode after buying this skirt. Patrick Kelly was a celebrated American fashion designer who came to fame in France. Among his accomplishments, he was the first American to be admitted to the prestigious governing body of the French ready-to-wear industry. As an African American, Kelly's designs were noted for their exuberance, humor, and references to pop culture and Black folklore. His runway shows in Paris were fabulous, with explosions of color, fun, and whimsy. Also, Betty Davis was one of his best customers and sang his praises. Doris told me that she bought this skirt at auction in Paris in his atelier. Now, how cool is that? I feel like I own an important piece of fashion history, and I will channel him and Doris every time I'm wearing this skirt. I also love how I can wear it different ways, with both colors showing or with either the black or orange side in the front. Before I knew it, my husband and daughter met me back at the shop and it was time to say goodbye to Doris. She was very nice to them as well. She mentioned to us how she gets to meet a lot of stylists and designers in the business, and some of them are super nice and some of them aren't that nice. I imagine that Doris would be kind to all of them regardless. I've been having so much fun wearing and styling these pieces and I really love them. Meeting Doris was a treat, and getting to spend time in the way we wore surrounded by those treasures was very inspiring. I get swept up in the history and just picture all the people that had worn these things in the past. And it was just fun being around someone who feels the same way about all of these beautiful vintage pieces. I truly admire Doris for what she's built and the knowledge that she imparts. It was such a joy meeting you. Thank you so much, Doris. I really appreciate it. I also hope to be back there very soon. Are any of you fans of The Way We Wore and Doris Raymond? Please let me know in the comments below. If you aren't able to get to the shop, they have a really good website, and you can also send them messages with any questions. They're super responsive and very helpful. Also, check out their YouTube channel. I will put that in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, have fun and dress it up a little.